Okay, guys, let's get started. Uh, this topic is about our experiences. Is that everybody hears me okay? It seems a little echo. Okay. Uh, this experience report for us to deploy Kanban in Ping An for almost 5 years to now. So a lot of things to talk about in 1 hour. And this will be a new chapter for the coming book for David. Last time we have them interview a lot of Ping An people. Okay, a little background about me and my company. Our company called Agilin. We are the biggest local China consulting companies in the Agile and the Lean software space. Our customers, including Ping An for this talk, and the China Merchant Bank, the CMB, shows they have done that yesterday, and also Huawei, the biggest telecom vendor in China, and also ICBC. I'm the principal consultant for Agile. A little bit background about Ping An. Ping An is the second largest insurance company in China. And also they are the biggest private owned company in China. So they are listed in the stock market, and they are once HSBC was the biggest vendor, biggest stakeholder for Ping An, and they sold most of stock till now. And our customer is really the Ping An technology, is the IT part of the group. So at that time, when we first go in, 2011, they are the solo IT vendor for the whole Ping An group, including insurance, the trust, all the not part of the bank. We will talk about that. So this is a little background. Okay, at that time, about 5 years before 2011, it's about waterfall at that time. So each release, they will have a 2-month period for each release. First month is more like a requirement analysis, and second month is doing the development and testing. So it's like a overlap 2-month releases. And they got the requirement freeze 2 months before. So if you want anything, it has to be 2 months, at least. Maybe longer, but you won't get less than 2 months. So that's kind of the goal. That's kind of contract they negotiate with their business people. Okay. So that's where we come in at that time. So our first approach is really use Kanban more at the team level 5 years ago at 2011. So the story is like this. This is a new Ping An website. I get a screenshot yesterday. So this is a better version now after 5 years. It's not this good 5 years ago. At that time, they are doing this car insurance website. So basically, at that time, they're trying to sell the car insurance over the internet. It seems okay until, in China, the fintech is very popular now. At that time, Alibaba already have their, it's called insurance at Taobao.com. So basically, the internet vendor come into the space. And this is fierce animals, right? So they can release more like weekly, daily, and the traditional insurance business people get a lot of pressure. So this project actually started from the business side. They are kind of friends and competitors. So they visit Taobao and ask them, okay, you guys, our IT people froze the requirement 2 months before, but you guys seems, act pretty fast. What that happened? And the magic word come out like agile or something like that. Okay, and then the business people said, I don't understand, but I remember this word Agile. Okay, and he go back to Ping An in technology and said, you know what, guys, I don't understand, but I want to Agile. Do Agile for me. And at that time, the CIO of Ping An said, okay, whatever, let's try. So we start a pilot project at Ping An for this car insurance. So what they do, any of you guys coming from financial background? No? One? Okay. And so normally, this is what happened in China. I'm not sure here, right? Normally, the business people stay in the better part of the town. The center, huge buildings, and IP people stay, in the less beautiful part of the town. Okay, so that's what happened in Ping An. Actually, the business people, they're in the center of the city, and Ping An IT people, they are separate place. It's cheaper location. So at first, because we're the pilots, so we got to choose how to play, right? And we said, you know what? We want to stay together, the IT people or the business people. Choose one place, whatever. But we want to stay together. So at that time, this lady is actually the business people, and they said, okay, fine. We're rich. It's not an issue. Come here, come to our space. So if you look the ambience here, this is the business people, business country, right? So it's nicer. Okay, so at that time we built the first true end-to-end feature team. So we got the product owner, we got product managers, we got IT people, we got software developers, testers, everybody in the one roof. So that's first time it's actually, if we look more like 15 years ago, people are working this way. And then people divide the business and IT and they work separately. And now we bring them back together. Okay. So, this is our first Kanban, actually. This is the proto-Kanban at that time. Very simple one. And we have different stages, and we have stand-up meetings. So this is how Kanban got started in Ping An. Okay, and after maybe 2 months, and we can bring this team to more like a 2-week iteration, but they actually separate into 2 teams. One team focuses on the major feature, which is buying the insurance, and the other team focuses more on the advertisement, event, those kind of stuff. So with 2 teams, they can actually release once per week, but actually the iteration was 2 weeks. So they are very happy. The business people, they're very happy with that because they are 4 times faster than before. And they actually can fix a lot of stuff and catch up the merchant trend, the market trend. Okay, so in about 8 months, they more like grow 16% of their transaction volume for the car insurance. But the reason is that it's really bad here, because the IT was so slow at that time, so they really cannot. I tried. I even cannot buy successfully. Actually, it's broke somewhere. So so the IT worked very hard, and in the end, is possible to make the order online. So they have a very good growth now. So we don't have because they don't have an official number in their annual report on how much they sell on the internet. But now we know that it's a huge chunk, a big chunk for all the car insurance sold now. Pure internet sales. Okay. Okay, so and then we have a little bit reflection on what happened here. Why this happened? First, we have a little bit visualization, and we have a better communication because people are very close. I have a problem, I come here to explain to me. It's easier, and the trust level was a lot higher. When two kind of people stay in two buildings, and conspiracy theories happens, right? These IT guys, they never work hard, and these business people, they always change requirements, So when people work together, naturally they, behave better. Okay, and the other thing is the feedback speed. When we have, less requirement, less sweep, and the feedback speed increased. And one one example I think of recently is about, it's like doing software is like exploration, right? So we explore a maze to try to, from the requirement to find a solution. It's really a very intelligent, intensive work. With fast feedback, the most good thing is enable a quick undo. I try something, and it doesn't work. At this time, you don't need to think. It's very easy. Oh, that's wrong, so I undo that, right? So that's very easy one. But think about the other scenario is that I do something, and you got feedback 5 days later. Okay, and then most of the time you forgot what's going on, and then you have to do a new exploration. Right? It's not a simple undo anymore. So in software, increasing the feedback speed is very important. So that allows us to move faster. Okay, and the other thing is about less sweep. Makers has to have the benefits to handle the feedback. Recently, there is an interesting book. This brighter is too bright. This projector is too bright, so you probably didn't read it well. It's called Scarcity. Why we having too little means so much. A lot of time when you have too much on your plate, it not only keep you busy, the research shows it even lower your IQ in a way. In this book, they have do an experiment in India. So what they do is that they go to the supermarket, and then they random choose poor people and rich people. It's easy. You just see what car they drive, what clothes they wear. And then they ask them to do a simple IQ test. Actually, the poor people and the rich people, they have relatively same level of IQ. And then what the experiment do is that they ask another questions before they do the IQ test. They ask question like, okay, now let's assume your car got a problem. If you fix it now, I may pay you up to like $3,000 to fix the car. If you don't fix now, it still works, but you may have to pay all the stuff, all the things, all the cost by yourself. Maybe in 6 months, maybe in 1 year, don't know. Okay, so adding a little complexity to the IQ test. And then what they find out is that for the rich people, doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. It doesn't cost much. I probably fix that to save some money, or I don't care. So they didn't bother. But for the poor people, they began to wonder. Even they don't ask. It said, okay, just one question to think about. Okay, now let's erase that. Just do this test. But they began to be disturbed in their mind. They began to think about, oh, should I fix that? So when you fear scarcity, in the IT world, we are not scared of the money most of the time, but we are scared about time. The time is really the scarcity here. The research shows that if you are scared of some things, and then when some related things happen, it lowers your capability to do the work. So that's really interesting for, when we have less WIP, less WIP, it actually makes you perform better when you have the bandwidth to handle the feedback. So that's one reflection I have regarding why this team doing better. So after the success of this project, we spent about around 9 months with this project, coaching them not only Kanban, but continuous integration, automation test, or other stuff. But so that's really a combination of effort. So after they succeed and they think, oh, this is good, we have succeeded on the team level. So what should we do next? And then they began to think about the project. In Ping An, a lot of the development, about maybe 30 to 40% is the maintenance, and a lot of effort spent in a new project every year. So they think about, oh, we are doing the maintenance well now using Kanban, and how we are going to do it better in the project. So then they choose a project, and this project was in the life insurance part of the world, so from the car insurance to the life insurance. So at this stage, we began to use improved Kanban, not proto anymore, more real Kanban now with all different columns. In Chinese, it's more like ready, developing, testing, test ready, testing, and this is ready to UAT done, something like that. And we got photos for different people putting in that car, means he's working on that. We have the burn down chart. So for this project, it goes well, and we already doing the CFD diagram at that time to track the progress of the project. So the good thing is that within 3 weeks, normally we can deliver a feature, or more like a story at that time. So it's pretty fast. So what it gives us is very interesting, is that with this way of managing product using Kanban, it helped the project team to be really adaptive. So after the project's done, we do analysis. About 60 of the work was original task. This is something we think, oh, this is cool. This is something we must done. And there is a 40% originally stuff is haven't done. We feel that we change in the course, say that, you know what, it's not important anymore. So this also is the good thing about visualization, because before that, a lot of time business people say something, oh, I want all of this. Okay, we got a contract, we got a deal, okay, go do it. And then they will add more things, right? They will say, oh, I want this, I want that. But a lot of time, they didn't say what I didn't want anymore, right? Because it's, anyway, you just do it. So with Kanban, with the more communications, with the flow, with the less WIP size, and it's actually, we don't do the 40% work, it's low priority. Instead, we add another 40%, it's a new requirement. So for this project, if we don't use Kanban or other agile methodology, we probably end up with doing 140% of work. Because this is the new, and this come as urgent requests from some top CIO or top CEOs, and you must have done, right? And a lot of times the project dies because this overburdens, because you have to squeeze everything in, and then you don't have enough time, and you get poor quality, and then you cannot deliver on time, or the project dies for the poor quality. So for this project, we have the way to really make the project team to be adaptive, and also do some technical tasks to make sure that the the long-term success of the project, the quality was ensured. Okay, so in this project, we think Kanban really encourage us to decide at last responsible moment, to put in the story when we really going to do it, and also he encouraged the team to focus on deliver values matter to the business instead of delivering the project. This is something I have to do. So that's something that we accomplished in about 4 years ago in this project. And after that, the Ping An technology decided, oh, this seems to be very successful. We have done the maintenance part work, it works. We have done the project, it works. Okay, now is probably the time, let's roll it over. So then we, try to spread Kanban in the whole organization. Okay, so the first stage, we do mainly 3 things. First, we do training for the key players, and also we kind of soft push Kanban to every team. It's kind of necessary evil in a big project, in a big organization. But we allow each Kanban to be different. Each team can have their own Kanban, their own way of working. So this is the game. We got Ping An. We got the 4 game in our company, and Ping An buy another 4 for their own, so they can play every time they want. And now it seems that every of our customers buy 4 sets of the game of their own, so that they can play whenever they want. And a good training and good team exercise, and more like a team building event for the new project. They have internal coach. Question? It's still the English version. Yeah. But I heard they got some pirate version now, but but that's a good thing and bad thing, right? So that's. No, that's a bad thing. Okay. So it's we find out it's very good team building exercise for team to know each other, right? So a lot of time when we start a new project and people don't know the names, and after they playing this good game for half day, and they all knew the ideas of the flow, whip, and besides they also know each other, so that's good. And you probably don't read this, it's in Chinese, but this is Kanban. And we kind of make, in Ping An, we have a more like like a maturity model for the Agile. They have an internal version. We put Kanban in, and we kind of access the level they use of Kanban. So that's kind of a soft push I'm talking about. In the big organization, sometimes you have to do some evil things to be good. Okay, so this looks better on my screen, but this is actually a lot of pictures of Kanban of different teams, and I got more details. But just like this team using Kanban this way and draw this graph, and these teams use a little bit differently. But you see but a lot of things are still in common, a lot of pictures of photos, and colored card representing different class service or type of work. Defect mostly on here. So some key findings when we spread. Now in Ping An, the IT part, they have more like six floors of the buildings. Last time we toured David, goes through the different tour, different floor, and you see a lot of different Kanbans used by different teams. What we find out is that first this gives people the ownership for owning their own process visually. physically, right? Each team can choose their own way of representing their people. Some team using interesting icons. Some team using photos. Some team just use names. That's fine. You decide. And also different columns, different regions, parking rules. So this really gives people the power to manage themselves. So we think Kanban just don't superficially say we make the team self-management by saying that, right? So some people just say, okay, now you go self-management, bless you. But Kanban, we think it's really a tool to gradually to educate the team how to be self-managed. And the second thing is that we feel Kanban really lasts because there were so many teams, so we don't coach them intensively anymore, actually. Once they're run on their own, we are put out to do important things. And we will talk about that later. But even every time we tour David or we tour the CMB people to Ping An, you find out it's still there. It's still thriving. It's still spreading. It's very cost-effective way to introduce Agile. Let's say talk about that. We find that this happened in Ping An, and this also happened in CMB. It's far more efficient than other Agile methodologies. Okay, and the second stage, once we have everybody using Kanban, and in the second stage, we want to, make them to use better. So what we do is that we invite David to deliver a training for all the key managers at that time. Just like photos at that time. And also we do internal trainings for the coaches. So we actually develop internal Kanban coach. So they can run the game by themselves. They can coaching the team by themselves. So that not only we have 10 consultants in our company, but it's not enough. So we can train them more so that they can coach their own teams. And we also do some fun stuff. This is one of the consultants. He's doing, we call that Kanban tour, which is that we call for participations. Because they are all in the same building, so we can say, okay, we have a Kanban tour, and who want to join the tour and competition? And maybe in one morning, each team send their Kanban coach or flow managers to join, and then we have a flag here, and we just tour the building, and so people can learn each other's Kanban. And you come to your Kanban and say, how we use that, why we use that, how do you think, why you do use this column, and so this really about David talking about the complex system. Is really about more like exchange of the information and the mutation of the innovations side. And then they're doing more kind of this voting, and we choose a winner. So this is something we do actually to encourage each team to share how they use Kanban, and it's very cheap, right? So it's maybe you only spend one consulting day, and then you allow maybe 8 to 10 teams to improve and to think about and learn from each other. And this is another interesting exercise that we call it evolving Kanban. This is really another practice that we ask this team to think about every 2 weeks. You should think about how you should improve your process. But this improvement should be reflected in Kanban. So this is one of the thing they do is that for this team, this first when they got started, well, it's not bad, and then they said, oh, we we find some issues. We don't have a DoD definition, so they add their own DoD definition on the Kanban to make the policy explicit. And also they find that the requirement process is not clear enough. So what they do is that they make this process longer so that they can more visualize the requirement analysis stage. So at this stage, they are still 1 month. They still use 1 month iteration. And after a few weeks, they begin to change more like the 2-week iteration now. And you can compare that you see less card in the board. It's actually the color means something. It's green card is more like the requirement, and the purple card means more like the internal improvement requirement. So this kind of two types of the work. And then in this version, they began to introduce the WIP limit. And this is a 3 iteration, and this number 4 iteration, you can see that this is more like the drawing by the whiteboard pen, so it's very fundamental. And this we buy, some beautiful markers for them so that they can mark better now. But it makes sense because when you first started, you probably draw your board so that it can easily be changed. Once you feel that, oh, you know what, it's kind of stable now, and we want to make it prettier, but it makes it harder to change, So gradually you think, okay, it's good, and then you can make it beautiful, and also they add the name card. So see different small changes every iteration. So that's one environment of another team. So this is also mostly on their own. So it's very clear messages, and then they can evolve by themselves. Okay, so till now, they can almost, most of the team can doing 2-week iterations. So which means most of the time their lead time is about 4 weeks now to deliver the requirement. So this is also a progress we made along more like the 3-year period for helping all the team to be more agile and deliver quicker in PNG. Okay, and this little reflection is that about the WIP limit. Also some of my thought. Most of the time, recently in the presentation before, people talk about that some data shows that the WIP limit really increase the time to market, right? Increase the quality, but it reduce productivity. I'm not, that's the one study, right? So a lot of time we feel that people have strong resistance to WIP limit, especially in software, and also especially for managers. Right? I don't want to limit, right? And also if people are very allergic to productivity loss in a way. Some company may be okay, but some company they still very sensitive to productivity loss. So one way of we kind of talking about this, but we don't use advertises very strongly. But we think it's mainly we treat WIP limit as a way to empower the team to make their own decisions. So the software development is not like the lean manufacturing. We have a lot of visualization for the physical production process. So you know where is the storage, or you have too much bottleneck here. So everything is visualized. But in software development, the problem is that everything was in your laptop, right? So you're just typing there, whether you are busy, not busy, or your bottleneck. It all seems same, right? So it's more about generating more signals to the team so that people can decide by their own what is the right balance of the productivity or the delivery on time, which is important. So we don't want to force people to accept WIP limit and let them believe this is only a good way. Instead, we tell them it's a way of generating signals. So that if there is reduced web limit, it's below web limit, fine, there's no signal. But once it's above the web limit, it doesn't mean you have to stop taking new things, but it's time for you to think. Should I still pull in hard, or should I try to push that through, right? So that's way we think make people easier to swallow the WIP limit. A lot of time people don't like this limit, right? I don't want to be limited. Okay. And once we have done a lot of work inside IT, and people begin to, we have improved, but most of the work is internally, the IT. So it's still inside IT. But then, because we began to build more trust with our customers and to show the result, and then we began to be pulled into some urgent project. Very logic move, right? So this is we call that it's called Orange Bank. It's a direct bank for Ping An Bank. And at that time, when we go in, the story is like this: is that the IT people and the business people has been fighting for 1 month already. They have 4 months to deliver, but they have spending already 1 month in fighting. Fighting for what? Fighting for the scope. I want all these things happen in August. IT people do the estimate and said, no, we cannot do that. You have to tell me what requirement you can cut. Okay, and another thinking meeting and say, no, we cannot. Everything is important. Everything is reported to the leader of the bank. We cannot cut. You have to figure out ways to make that happen. And the IT people say, no, we cannot make that happen. It's like they're fighting for a month and the business people is actually in Shanghai and another city. We are mostly in Shenzhen, near Hong Kong. And the business people basically say, you know what? I already bought the ticket. You got 4 days. If we still have no agreement in 4 days, we will fly back. We will fly our team back. And we will report to the officials and say, IT is not cooperating with us. Period. Okay. And that time, it said, you know what? We heard you are doing Agile, right? So why not come and help us to save this project? So that's where we got called in. So we first by discussing a little bit about the situation, about the requirement, and then within 4 days, what we do is that we began to this whole team is trained. So we got a lot of the internal coaches at this moment. So we quickly summon our coaches and our internal and external consultant. We more do a little bit story mapping to find out all the stories. There's a lot of cars, which. And we have a story war. So basically, we have all the cars there and a little bit estimation, a little bit very light estimation. And then we build a release plan. So I will talk about that a little bit more. But the key here, we find out to make the project success is really to manage the scope. As a project manager, you must manage the scope well. And most of the time, you cannot ask the business people about priority and about what to cut. They will always say everything was priority 0, all important, all being reported to the CIO, CEOs, and nothing can be cut. Okay, so that's normal. So don't anticipate things will happen the other way. But the other thing we can do is that we say, okay, we understand everything was important. Okay, that's fine. But we will do this in this order. We will, in David's term, is sequencing. It's not about priority, right? Everything was important, we understand. But it has a sequence, right? So this is about sequencing. And the business people may tell you, I don't know. And then what we do is that, okay, I give you a rough answer. Tell me where I'm wrong. So once you do that, they will tell you what's wrong. But if you don't do this, they say, give me a sequence. They will say, oh, no, it's too complex. It's not possible. So that's a kind of a trick. And when we've done this, we find out even the business people inside, they don't have the same sequencing. Different people want to do different things in different orders. So it's a good time for people to get the same voice for the business side. So it's just very good practice. And also we visualize, basically we visualize everything from the project schedules to the project dependencies. So this is about dependency about different systems. As a bank, so it has all the backend dependencies. So we also visualize how was the progress with the negotiating with the different backend vendors. And this is a team that we use. This is a Kanban we use to manage the work. This is more like the two-tier Kanban, traditional two-tier Kanban. This story, this is tasks, and for this project, we got a lot of experienced project managers, a little bit programmers, a lot of coaches, but all the developers was a brand new outsourcer. So we got more like 2 internal people, like 25 outsourcers. So it's also Kanban helps a lot in this situation to quickly have a rule set how the team work, even they are all brand new outsourcers. Okay, and this the team having the team together, and this is the leader of the bank is also visiting, and I also show her the processes. So this is the first time that Kanban really reached the more like the CEO level. So the business side and know, oh, this is how you guys work, and this looks nice. We really support. And so from this moment in this part of the organization, we got a very strong support from the business side. And for this project, we have 7 releases. Each release, we release some feature. We do development and testing together. We only have more like 1 week for testing with no release. And then we release the project internally. So it's 4 months for a brand new app. Is astonishing for the banks. It's like 4 months. I can do nothing this 4 months, but this is, yeah. So it's actually we asking for production environment is take us about 3 months to get that. But we still make it happen in 4 months. Even the environment come with 3 months. We make it 4 months. So they're very happy about that. Okay, so here's now I get some clue about how to ensure 100% on-time delivery for the project. The key is really to manage the scope. Is that you have to get the freedom to control the scope by committing I will 100% deliver. Trust me, work my way, and I can ensure I can deliver 100% on time. And actually, we have about 6 this kind of project afterwards because we are so useful, and now they are using us more in the big project now because here is a CEO project, and we want to make that happen. So we're kind of doing this kind of work more. And also, there is many specifics for the project, but most of the time, there is all details. For the business people, they care about the feature list. They don't care about the details. You have this feature, you have that. But what happened if that? What happened if that? They don't care about that details. Make the list happen, and you can control the scope by the details, but not the feature list. So that's kind of way you can always make sure 100% delivery. We deliver about this 6 project now inside Ping An, and all of them 100% on time. And when you can control the scope, you can control the pressure level of the team, and then you can make sure that the quality was good. Because most of the time, the project is killed by poor quality. You think everything will fine and it's broke in the last minute. And you got delayed and the project got canceled. It's all about quality, finally. And also, we find out in the business, this kind of business IT related project, if IT works well, IT was most predictable. Business side, they got more complex issue, pricing, legal, all the kind of different stuff. So once IT can work this way, you're always on the stable side in a way. So we coach another project that we were told we have to online on April within 2 months. We did that, and the project actually online in August, 4 months later. So you got plenty of time to do whatever you want actually, because the license or different business issues. And last year, we began to do upstream Kanban and also to introduce the ESP ideas to the management. So this is still Kanban training, but the participant is all the business people. So we began to train business people the Kanban. It's not that hard. So once they understand the way of Kanban working, it makes us better to collaborate with them. So we began to train the IT, the product managers, and non-IT people about the Kanban ideas. And this is also a end-to-end Kanban. This is more like the idea being clarifying, assessment, to be scheduled, development. Only this column is really IT, and the other was the fuzzy front end. Okay, and we also try to introduce the ESP ideas to this organization. So we already have stand-up meetings, service delivery reviews, and we began to introduce operation reviews to this organization. So this kind of operation, each month they have their operation review, and they will have a meeting minutes for this operation review. And we find out if you manage if you manage the whole value stream, it's actually provide bigger improvement instead of only inside IT. So you can see that within like half year, we dropped the lead time, total lead time, from 130 days to 80 days. This for the bank. So bank was slow. So, but it's a lot of progress made in a half year. Why they are making them? It's a lead time. It's a full lead time. It's for application and a website for the bank. Yeah. Okay, and this is other examples I don't have to talk about, but we began to introduce upstream Kanban for the business side for different projects. So this is another project, and this is another project, and they've got a lot of visualizations I probably don't have time to talk about, but this there's a product level Kanban, and then there was team level Kanban that you can associate with them. Now we don't have a very good tool to go through this, so it's still physical now. Okay, and the ongoing initiatives in this year. So this year, so actually Ping An now moves very fast. So you probably don't read Chinese, but this is all Ping An apps. So they got like 60 apps going on because they are the whole financial group. They got security, they got bank, they got the insurance, they got life insurance. So each one of them got their own apps, and there was other new initiatives. So so a lot of them. So this year we try to be from delivering faster. We're trying to work more on delivering the right things. So we try to introducing more about discovery Kanban, and also with Lean Startup and Lean Analytics to make sure that to deliver the right things, not only the deliver fast. And also, this is more like Kanban for the CEO of the one sub companies. You probably read any of this, but it's about capital allocation. We find out that because IT was not visualized, there was no visualization, there was no physical things. So a lot of time, IT team got pressures from different teams. Everybody wants something, right? So I want a piece of this. It's not that hard. Do it for me. I want a piece of that. Do it for me. So you got multiple channels for asking things, and each one was not that big, but all very urgent. So when you add up together, it's a huge amount of work. But for CEOs, he didn't see that. He even replied some emails, say, "Oh, this is important. Please help. Oh, this is important. Please help." But he didn't see the whole picture. When you see help this, it may means you lose that. Nobody sees the consequences. Only people see the bad result. Right? So this is something we built for the CEO, more like showing the whole capability allocation and try to help them to match the demand and the capability. So that's the one thing we are trying to do. And the last piece is about this human side of Kanban. We got a lightning talk. Yesterday, I worked with a lot of Scrum people and coaching people, different kind of people. But from my point of view, Kanban was most human side of the, it's the most humane in a way, because we all believe people are smart, diligent, and creative. We think the problem is the system. So we don't focus on people in a way because we think they are not the problem. We want to fix the system first. But a lot of time we see different other methods that people try to improving, encouraging, enchanting, people, and say, "Oh, you can do better. You can be adult. You can be whatever." So, but actually, that way means you think the people is a problem, right? So I think Kanban is most humane in the way that we blame the system, we try to fix the system, and we don't really blame the people. We neglect people in that way because we don't think they are the problem. So that's my understanding about the human side of Kanban. Okay, and last line, what we can do differently. We have been starting from the IT side and team level. So like Carlos talked yesterday, if we have another choice, we should start more higher level, focus on the full value stream sooner. And also, we find that change the management mindset is most important now. Because whatever you do in the team level, if the management set the wrong KPIs, wrong management methodologies, and all the good things will be counterparted. So try to work with the management sooner. And also, we have done a lot of things with multiple different teams. If we can be more focused with a few teams first, it will be better. Okay. So that's all for today. Questions? No questions?
Hi. So I have a question about what happened around 2012 when you guys really started putting it into the project level. When you did that, did you find, because you weren't doing 140%, you were doing like 100%, so you abandoned some of that work. Did you find that the quality of work-life balance for the employees improved, or was it the same? Were they still working long hours? Were they working regular hours from your perspective?
Well, it certainly improved. Yeah, because now the team can, we are not dreaming because in China, people in Alibaba, they call this 996. So when your competitor work that way, most of the time 996, which means like start 9 a.m., finish 9 p.m., and working 6 days a week, right? So they call that 996. So when all your competitors work that way, it's really hard for your CEOs to take, okay, you know what, they are stupid, and let's just work 40 hours a day and we can win that. So most of the time, it's not that easy. We try to pair 996, but in a more handled pressure way, is that we have our own cadence, that we know that we can do that, we know that we can do that with high quality, but it's still kind of luxury now in China if you want to say, I want to work only 40 hours a day and I want to be success in the internet space. That's probably not possible. But the life balance is certainly better because the pressure level going low because we can control.
Could you go to the CEO?
SEO one, yeah, that's.
Could you talk through what
Well,
I guess what you're showing him here and what sort of decisions he could make?
Okay, so basically, first we categorize the requirement because for this project, it's about a lot of customization for different customers. It's a one platform, and you have to customize for different customers. So we set different requirement categories, more like A category for the product on the platform, and B category was more like the building platform itself, and more like the D and the site is more like the customization work. But what happens is that because every site was urgent, so all the resources was put into the site implementation actually, because everybody was urgent, right? But what the CEO wants is really a balanced portfolio. But if we don't have this visualized and controlled, everybody was saying that the platform is very important, but nobody was spending on it because every time you got an urgent issue in each site, and you lose the whole balancing focus. So it's really about demanding, shaping, and we can visualize. On each card, we will put the number of person on this task. It's really a high-level chart about how people will spend in each task. So that CEO can get a visualize like, oh, where my people is. Because his biggest problem is that I have a lot of people, far more than I think I need, but they're all gone doing something I may know, I may not know. And what I want never happens because I want a good platform. It never happens because everybody's on something else. So this effort try to visualize everything so that you can make decisions.
I love the slide at the end. Don't blame people, blame the system. That one, yeah. Was the organization ready for that? Because that will ask a lot of tough questions about how you're organized and what should really be changed and stuff like that. Did you train them, or did it just grow on you to start to change the system as well?
Well, this is really about the changing the mindset of the managers. About so I think it's mainly now is I understand that I was trying to convey the message to the more people, but it's still a long way to go for to change the mindset for the managers because in China 30 years we have booming so fast. So every CEO was successful because the environment actually, but he thinks because himself, his way of working, his way of thinking. So it's really hard for us to tell them, you know what, when you manage. Sorry. So it's really hard for them to understand that when you manage knowledge workers, it's different than 30 years before, but it's tough sell, you know. So we're still trying that. Okay. Thank you very much.